Hey everybody, the greatest goblin that ever lived is here for my comic book review for this week in October, the beginning of October 2013. I want to thank everybody for joining me here. I also want to thank everybody who participated in my second live Q&A session last week. Both Jennifer and I had a blast doing it, and I sorely apologize for any questions that were left unanswered after I signed off. Immediately after I get done filming this video, I'm going to go back and look at that video and look at the comments that look at the questions that I didn't get to answer after I signed off, and maybe I'll reply to them and answer them there. So if you didn't get your questions answered after I signed off, I do apologize. I will try my best to go back and look at those questions, and I'll simply reply to them so that way you don't feel left out. I do apologize for that. But what I'm here for, let's get this camera back just a little bit. Okay. But what I am here for is for a comic book review, and I am here for, hang on, there we go. And I'm here to do some comics here. I got 5 books to do. I got 3 DCs and 2 Marvels, and let's kick it off with Marvel. We're going to start Marvel off with All New X-Men, issue number 17. This is chapter 6 of Battle of the Atom. I'll tell you one thing, Battle of the Atom has been a phenomenal X-Men storyline, and I've been enjoying the hell out of it. Now, you know, this whole thing started off with this. They're keeping all the plot points in check, and I love that. You know, the storyline started off with X-Men from the future coming to the present to tell the X-Men of the present to send the X-Men of the past back where they belong. And we thought, okay. And I originally thought that it was going to be, the whole story was a simple misunderstanding between the past, present, and future X-Men on whether or not they should go back or whatever. But in the last chapter, and in this one, we get an entirely different twist in the story. It turns out that the future X-Men that appeared in the beginning of the story may not be, quote-unquote, heroes. As a matter of fact, it's actually implied in this chapter that those future X-Men are, in fact, quote-unquote, evil X-Men. Now, what happens in here, we get to see what might have possibly corrupted these X-Men. And the moment that happens in here is a really big what the fuck moment. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But what else happens in here, we get to see more and more, let's see, what's the term I'm looking for here? More and more plot points to imply the fact that the future X-Men are indeed twisted and corrupted. But we get to meet another group of future X-Men, and this particular group is led by Colossus. And he's up there in age, and we get to see some familiar faces of the past and some new mutants in here who have a very familiar look to them. For instance, Quentin Quire seems to be the new Phoenix, and that's a pretty scary thought when you think about it. And notice the Ice Wizard right here on the cover. I don't know how well y'all can see that because of the god-awful lighting in here in my room. But yeah, an Ice Wizard. Turns out that's the real future Iceman. And the gigantic Hulk-sized Iceman that came with Kitty Pryde's group from the future is, I'm not saying that's not Iceman, but it's implied in here that is actually an extension of future Iceman's powers that may have developed a mind of its own, so to speak. It's very complicated, but still very intriguing storytelling. I applaud everybody who's been writing this story so far. Bendis, Wood, Jason Aaron, Brian Wood, Jason Aaron, they've all been doing a fantastic job with this. And A very nice cliffhanger at the end of the issue. Very nice. What more can you say? I mean, it's just more and more instances of people saying, you shouldn't know your own destiny, you shouldn't know your own future. And while that may be so, the story continues to be intriguing, and this issue, as well as the last issue, has just kept me guessing. How much more can we get from this story? What other twists and turns are we in for? Because I was thinking the story was going to be one thing, and now it's turned out to be another thing, and it's kept my attention, it's kept my interest, and I'm loving it. This has been a phenomenal story. Very, very well done. I salute Brian Michael Bendis and Stuart Immonen for such a good issue. This was really good. Next up on the list, we got the all-new X-Men Special #1. This is Part 1 of The Arms of the Octopus. This is a $5 book. Now, was this worthy of a $5 price tag based on its size? Actually, yes, because if you go through this book, and I'm not going to give you any peeks or anything like that, but if you really truly go through the size and the length of the storytelling in this issue, I do believe it's worthy of a $5 price tag because it is a long story. And it's not cluttered with massive 2-page spreads, and it's not clustered with ads after ads after ads, and there's no stupid cover gallery at the end of the book. This is truly what a $5 book should look like. And for a part 1 of a 3-part story that crosses over with specials from the Indestructible Hulk and Superior Spider-Man, I don't know if I'm going to get the other 2 parts. I might, because this beginning of this story was actually not that bad. You got the 4 original X-Men that, stayed with the Jean Grey school: Young Cyclops, Jean Grey, Iceman, and the Beast. The 4 original X-Men that stayed with Wolverine's side. Now, it's called Arms of the Octopus, and that really got my attention. I'm like, where are they going to go with this? And minor spoilers. The 4 X-Men get attacked by Dr. Octopus. But then you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute. Dr. Octopus is now Spider-Man. Is Peter Parker coming back? Sadly, that's not the case. It's implied that the Dr. Octopus that attacked the X-Men may have come through a time portal the same way these original X-Men did. This may be the 1960s rendition of Dr. Octopus. And the X-Men come they cross paths with Superior Spider-Man in here, Otto Octavius. And of course, we all know why Spider-Man is saying that that's not Otto Octavius. We all know that, but none of the characters in this book know why. And that's where the interesting stuff comes in, because I read this book actually twice, and I don't remember seeing once implying that Peter Parker may have come back, or Otto Octavius may have come back from the dead. That's not really implied. What's the main The main suggestion is that it's Otto Octavius from the 60s. Now, I really think this could be a really intriguing story. A story all by itself. It doesn't have to connect to any of the continuity that's going on right now. I really dug this. This was a great read. It was fun. Let me see who wrote this. Anyway, Mike Costa did the writing. We had Chris Anka on the pencils and inks. The writing was very good for the most part. It was really good. The artwork actually worked for me. It actually worked for me. The artwork and the coloring had a bit of an old school comics pop to it, kind of like retro style, but kind of modern. I'm trying my best to explain how it's done, but for a special and for part 1 of a 3-part story, this actually wasn't that bad. And if I actually would recommend giving this book at least a read. I'm not going to tell you whether or not you should buy it because it's $5. If you got $5 to burn, then yeah, why not? Go ahead and give this a look. But I'd say it's definitely worth at least reading. Really good. Alright, we're moving on to DC. We're going to start DC off with Detective Comics number 24, complete with shiny plastic cover. John Layman and Jason Fabok continue the series. Now, granted, we had to go a whole month without an actual issue of Detective Comics because of Villains Month. And I'll speak my piece about Villains Month maybe in a later video for Dark Avenger Inc. Plus. But for this continues the story. In case you forgot what's been going on so far, don't worry. The editors in here do a good job of reminding you of what's been going on because we went through a whole month without this. But the story, this is the conclusion to the story involving Wrath, and it actually wraps up really, really nicely. Very well detailed. The artwork in here was great. I actually want to give props to who did the coloring too. Hang on. The colors were by Blonde. I swear, that's the name they give. Colors by Blonde. So Blonde did a good job with the coloring here as well. So Batman is on to Caldwell and his vendetta against the police. And in here, we finally get the reason why he hates cops, and we finally get the reason why he has a murderous vendetta against the Gotham City Police Department. We finally get the explanation as to why he's got this hateful, murderous grudge, and turns out it was pretty damn tragic, but not exactly original, and I'm not going to spoil it. But after all the shit that Caldwell did to the cops, the way he is taken down in this issue, incredible moment, and I loved it, and I will not even dare ruin it for you. It was really good. And after Caldwell's taken down, one of the officers actually has a heart-to-heart chat with Batman. I believe his name is... Hold on, his name escapes me. Officer Wallace of the Gotham City Police Department. He actually, in a long, heartfelt way, apologizes to Batman on behalf of the Gotham City Police Department for always labeling him as an outlaw who works outside the law, who's just as responsible for the lunatics in Gotham. And the reason why he apologizes to Batman is because he states that Caldwell is pretty much the Gotham City PD's fault. It's like Batman has caused the creation of some of his own biggest enemies. But Caldwell, Wrath, this is on GCPD. This is their fault. This was their creation. So now they finally understand what kind of shit Batman has to go through when dealing with his criminals. And, and it's like, and the officers tell them, it's like, we may not always see eye to eye, but now we know how you feel, and I apologize. This was so well done, and I liked the ending of the story. It's like, this really paints a picture for how sick this bastard is, especially after what Gordon tells him in prison. This was fantastic reading. My only complaint about this book is that so far, up until now, we've been getting two stories in each issue. The first is the main story, and the second story deals with Man-Bat. All of a sudden, we decided not to have a Man-Bat story in this issue. I don't know why. I've been loving that, and I would like to keep up with what's going on with Man-Bat and She-Bat, as she's been called. That's literally my only complaint, my only nitpick about this issue, that there was no second story involving Man-Bat. But this was really good, well worth my time, well worth my money. I enjoyed it. Alright, you see that? As much as I want to review this, you're up. Oh boy. Oh, I am so glad to be here. One of the few times I can say with a straight face that I'm actually glad to be a part of this. Because, me and Mr. Counterpart don't exactly get along. Fuck it, sometimes we hate each other. But I'll give him credit where credit is due. At least he comes and lets me review a book from my world, Earth 2. And god damn it, I can't wait to talk about this. I'm talking about Earth 2, number 16. Oh my God. This shit was awesome. Just bear with me here. Now, I'm going to be a nice guy this time, and I ain't going to spoil a goddamn thing. But what I will say is that this, I think these people are saying that this is James Robinson's last issue of Earth 2. James Robinson ought to give you a high five, man, or maybe a chest bump for all the goodness you gave to this series. This was incredible. You went out with a big bang, baby. Oh yeah, my man, you're killing it with this. This was incredible. This was, to me, one of the best issues out of the entire series. Arguably the best. That's still up for debate. But, oh my God. Man, you got me. You actually got me to geek out. Motherfucker, not too many people can do that. I gots to thank you, James. I gots to thank you. You see, a real rude sumbitch like me has got to show you some respect. This was awesome. Loved it. Love this stuff. What happens in here? I can't spoil it for you. I just can't. But what I will say is, buy this. Buy this shit. Get this shit and remember this motherfucking book. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh my God. I gotta get out of here. I need a drink. Yeah, one of the few times I can actually appreciate him reviewing something on my show. You heard what he said. Now, I'm not going to be as foul-mouthed as he was, but all in all, this was a spectacular issue. James Robinson, I salute you. My Earth 2 counterpart salutes you, obviously. This was good. Very, very good. We're going to end this with Green Lantern number 24. This is part 1 of Lights Out. Oh man, we're off to a bang of a start on this storyline. Relic strikes. Oh, by the way, you gotta love that Billy Tan cover. That is just awesome. Robert Venditti and Billy Tan. Billy Tan's doing the artwork, but I also want to give props to Rob Hunter, the inker, and Alex Sinclair, who does the coloring. Alex Sinclair must have had his work cut out for him with a whole bunch of green in this book. Wow, this was really good. Hal and the rest of the core members that are left on Oa are coming face to face with Relic, and I wanted to point this out earlier, but I'll do it here. When Relic finally shows himself, I'm sorry, but I don't know how well y'all can see that, but does it look like Relic is sporting a giant proton pack? I'm sorry. I instantly thought that when I saw him. But oh my God, Relic really makes a name for himself in here. But he's not a mean, twisted, sadistic villain type character. Yeah, he comes off looking like the villain in this issue, but he honestly, this is what I got from reading this. He honestly believes he's doing this for the benefit of the universe because of the destruction of the previous universe before this universe was created. In the previous universe, the emotional light spectrum, the light waves and everything were constantly wasted and used up, and it caused the destruction of his universe. And somehow he survived that destruction, and now he's in our universe. And he sees that it's being done all over again. So instead of sitting back and letting it happen, he is going to do whatever he has to do to prevent the destruction. You kind of get that vibe of a villain who's doing a noble act, even though it comes off looking villainous. It's very, very well done, and it's something that it's something that I've missed in, true villainy in comic books. When this character looks and comes off like a villain, but he does have an intention to what he's doing. He's not doing it to be an asshole. He's doing it because he thinks it might be the right thing to do. That's what I got from this first issue. That may change as the storyline goes, as the storyline progresses. We're only on part 1, so it's too soon to judge on what the solid plot of the story is so far. But for part 1, this was a big whoa, because the way this issue ended, oh my God. This was awesome. I dare not ruin the ending of this. This was fucking amazing. I think y'all will love this. Damn, if the rest of the story is told like this, we're in for one hell of a story. Just fantastic stuff. I can't honestly complain. It wasn't perfect, but for what it was damn awesome. Just damn awesome. Well, that's all I got for this week of comic books. I'll try to do another back issue review of books that I just picked up. Finishing my Villains Month book reviews, and stay tuned to my main channel for another Midtown Comics stash that I got from my bro Chris, the Mount Vernon Kid, and from Midtown Comics. As soon as I get those read and ready, I will be prepared to do a review on those. Don't forget about all my friends at Dark Avenger Inc. Plus. And of course, I'll always remember Mark and Chloe at Fast Stack of Comics. Mark, Beard Bros, man, Beard Bros, and Chloe, that's for you, sweetie. And thanks to my family at Arkham Comics for these books. I want to thank y'all, Ken and Sarah, and of course my girlfriend Jennifer. Love you, baby. Follow me on Twitter or on Tumblr, or look for me on Facebook. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and until next time, I will see you all later.